So, how long have you been coaching in for?
Started out in July for pre-season, had a 2-month block, and then went into our first game.
Taking a look at my book in the change room.
That was because of you. You're
Well
right.
done.
July 17, yeah?
Well, it was mid-July, yeah. I think it was July 17th.
July, and
exactly.
that's for pre-season. What are your team's strengths?
Team strength's probably be at the set piece of scrum. That's probably our biggest strength.
Nice. So, what year group do you coach? As well?
What this here? So it'd be the senior team. So you got the guys
Anything
from
above 18?
Sorry?
Anything above 18 then?
It's 18 up to 40s, 50s.
Nice. Right. What would you say your team's weaknesses are?
Witnesses would probably be so last season had quite a difficult season out in the back, so we weren't getting too much ball there. So that was a big focus for pre-season. Just trying to make the backs more of an attacking threat. That's something we've been working on quite hard.
Well, so you say your back line, you say?
Yeah, so just more of an attacking threat in the back line, making sure we can get more points out of them this season than we did last year.
Nice. How do you ready train?
So we'll do hour and a half on a Tuesday, hour and a half on a Thursday, and then game day on Saturday.
Evenings, yeah?
Yeah.
And then Saturday is game day. Have you ever had your team analysed before? If so, how often and what were they looking at?
So we'll sometimes in training we'll be doing we'll do some video analysis. So I'll get on the Huddle app and I'll film parts of the session. Once I've
What's
filmed
that called, sorry?
Huddle technique. So I'll film it and then we'll bring the guys and then we'll get them to review themselves, what they did, what they could have done differently, maybe how they could have done it differently and why. So we're still trying to create that cognitive environment for the players when doing it.
What about game days? Any analysis on there?
Game day, no video analysis. It's more sort of analysis from the coach, but as well, sort of after the game, bring the players in, getting their opinions, maybe what happened, again, what we could have done differently, why we could have done it, or even what did we do well. So when you can get the players to buy into that and start to get them to analyse themselves, in theory, it should help develop the player mentally.
Okay, what would you like to gain from this analysis?
I think probably just an improvement in the team in terms of points, looking at marginal gains theory. If we can improve, say, how many points we score or concede within the game, in theory that should help to improve results, which is a long-term aim of the team.
Yeah. Lovely. Okay, how well are your team willing to work hard to improve goals and targets?
Yeah, we've had a big buy-in from the boys.
Quite there. How often do your team play? Once a week?
Yeah. So we've got a first, a seconds, and a vet side, and we'll normally put out 2 teams a week.
And do you coach all of them?
Yeah, so it's Tuesdays and Thursdays is a senior session, so anybody from first, seconds, and vets is welcome down.
Right. Okay. So what about game days? Do you predominantly stay with the first? Or?
Yeah, game days I'll coach. I'll take the first team.
Okay. Cool. Okay. What affects your team play? Would you say weather, ground, any other components that affect them?
Sorry?
Any other components that affect them? Is there certain teams that they don't particularly like, or?
Well, it's a case of you trying to, if you want to look at the other team, it's more sort of trying to put your philosophy in instead of trying to deal with maybe their strengths. So I like my coaching point of view, I like to think that our strengths will outweigh their strengths. And if you look at the weather as well, I mean, yeah, this year, as I said, we're trying to help strengthen our weaknesses, so making the backs becoming more of an attacking threat. Obviously, it means our style of play is going to be more expansive, which in really wet conditions, yeah, it can affect grip on the ball, which means you can get the ball knocked on more. So in theory, yeah, as the weather changes, it may affect maybe how we want to play our game.
But you'd say that would affect the other position?
Well, of course. I mean, variables like that, it doesn't just affect one team, it will affect both teams.
So each week when you play a game, they're at competitive level, yeah? Competitive level.
Yeah, so we're getting now, most weeks we've got a league game or cup games now. Everything's to play for, and that's both for first and seconds.
What do you typically work on in training then?
Well, I suppose when we first came in, there was a big. I almost started trying to change up the session plans. I know that, having spoken to the team before in training last season with their old players, they were doing a lot of drills and fitness-based stuff. So we're trying to bring it in now, just sort of everything's game-based. I brought in big into that theory. I suppose as well, it's our biggest thing is making every player sort of improving their decision making on the ball. It's working on being an attacking threat and then being a pass threat. Something we've quite heavily brought into the team.
Okay, and would you say that if you had a game on Saturday and the line-out was poor, you'd work on that in training the next week?
Again, it depends. I mean, the line-out in its respect is normally quite a decent. It's something that we normally do well on. So if we maybe have a bad day at the office in the line-outs, if it happens just the once, fair enough. It happens with every team. However, if it's something that's consistently happening week in, week out, then yeah, it's something we need to look at. And
how often do you prepare your session plan in advance to training?
Well, for pre-season we had a 6-week block. So before pre-season started, I did the first 6 weeks. Every session, what we do and why we doing it. And then, sort of after that, it's look at what happens on the Saturday, reflect it in the game, and then go into your Tuesday and Thursday sessions, planning out from that.
Perfect. So we've done that one. Have you got any other support staff coaching inside you?
We did have an assistant coach, but he's not been there for the last couple of weeks due to work. But again, I suppose looking at the style of coaching we want to bring into that cognitive player-led style, it's that I'm trying to get the players to coach themselves as much as I can, just because I believe heavily in the benefits from that, and it's something which we're starting to see within sessions and within the overall play of the team.
Why do you believe that it's so useful for them to coach themselves?
Well, again, it's a theory which within coaching, within most sports, is starting to be brought into now more. And I suppose working for the professional side like Quins and seeing how it's affecting the players and how it's working, and it's definitely something you can bring down to this level, and maybe at this level even more. They might have gone years without having that kind of coaching style. So it's something where you can, it can make an instant impact, but then again, it's something that in the long term is meant to affect the player. So we've been working on it more there.
Okay, so what age group were you working with at Quins before?
At Quins, it would be a community department, so we're looking at anything from the ages of 7 up to almost like elite-ish players at 18, 19.
Okay. Have you got any current goals within the team at the moment?
Well, for long term, for this season, obviously we want to be. Last year they had a really bad year due to circumstances they couldn't really control. So this year, rebuilding the side, the way in which we want to do that quite simply is win games. That's our first target, and our second target is to work a lot more on bringing more players in, so I have been able to consistently hit out a second side. I think we've targeted being able to play 7 seconds games this season.
7 seconds?
7 seconds games this season, and then for the first two, maybe hitting mid-table to winning a considerable amount of games would be nice.
And that's the second, you mean, mid-table, or is that for the first?
That's for the first is mid-table, and the second's target is to get them playing minimum of 7 games.
How long do you expect to be here as a coach?
Well, I spoke to the DOR before the start of the season. We target me to be here for a minimum of 2 to 3 years. And then again, I mean, depending on what happens after that, so I know that for me personally, I want to target my level 3, and obviously working with who I'm working with, there might be opportunities to go and work with sides who are several leagues higher, but for the minute, this is my main target. I want to develop this club as much as I can before even thinking about moving to another club.
Last couple couple. What would you intend to do with the data provided from this analysis?
Well, again, it's one of them. We got to look at whatever's come up as a potential weakness within the side, and I suppose sitting down with the players and talking through maybe how we can develop that. If it's something that's shown facts-wise, it's a weakness we need to work on. Then it's something we've got to, well, with it being already identified, we have to work on. And I suppose getting the players buy-in there and getting their opinion on how we can work on it. And I suppose with the strengths as well, if there's something which we didn't realise maybe that we're quite strong in, letting the players know, making them feel good about themselves.
Awesome. Are there any certain aspects of the game you would like me to focus on at all?
Probably looking out into the defence, maybe looking at how we defend, where we defend, maybe when we concede tries, which areas are they scored in, would be the biggest one for me, just because in the day if you concede in tries, it's going to be a lot harder to win games.
Do you mean location on the pitch, or?
Well, the area. So if we know if we're scored out wide, then we know obviously we're not spread out enough in defence. Whereas if they're scored in the middle, then it's probably something that's been maybe through the pack. So we need to look more into how we're going to set up tighter to a breakdown. But yeah, it completely depends on what the stats say.
Awesome. Okay, so key performance indicators like set pieces, anything like that, passing, running, that you want me to focus on at all? Tackling maybe?
No, again, I think key performance indicator is probably just the defence, just looking at how we're defending.
Awesome. At the moment, if you had to rate your team out of 10, so out of 10, how would you rate it right now?
With 10 being what?
The best.
The best is in the All Blacks? Or the best, or 10 being the best in the league?
Let's say league.
Best in the league, we're probably at about 6. Planning to work on. It's a new side. I mean, it's a side where we're only going to get better as we progress throughout the season.
Okay, so I'm going to be here for about a 10-week period. How would you like to be exactly the same in the league out of 10 after this analysis?
Well, obviously we won't be targeting. It depends. We haven't had a good start to the season. That's due to travelling away from home and having a lot of players out. So I think if we can consistently put out a strong side, I'd be liking to look at maybe 7 and 8. So we're really trying to target or compete for promotion would be ideal.
Where do you have to be for promotion?
So it's the top 2 go up.
Top 2.
So maybe somewhere around there would be nice, but again, it all depends what happens throughout the season.
Awesome, perfect, lovely.
Right, I'm going to go.